You learned how to quiet comparison. You learned how to build an inner sense of self that doesn't depend on outcomes or approval. But something still happens. Life hits. Load. Someone says something sharp. You fall behind on something that mattered. You sleep poorly for 3 nights in a row, and suddenly, the clarity you found feels like it was never there. This is not failure. This is pressure. And pressure is not the enemy of inner stability. It is the test of it. In TSB Deo, we are not building anything new. We are protecting what was already built, because there is a critical difference between having clarity and being able to hold it when things get hard. Most people lose their footing not because they never found it, but because they didn't understand what makes it collapse. So, let's talk about that. The nervous system does not store progress the way a file is saved. It stores patterns, and patterns compete. When you practice silence, when you return to internal reference, when you stop feeding comparison, you're building a new pattern. But the old pattern is still there. It was formed over years, sometimes decades. It knows the terrain. It knows your triggers. It knows exactly when to return. This is not a flaw in your psychology. It is how the brain is designed. The brain prioritizes survival over comfort. And survival in its older language means staying alert, staying evaluated, staying oriented to threat. So when stress arrives, the brain defaults, not to who you've become, but to what it knows how to do quickly. Understanding this changes everything. Because when the relapse happens, and it will happen, it is not a sign that you failed. As maintenance, the second collapse point is relational pressure. Someone questions your direction. A relationship becomes tense. You receive criticism without context. You sense disapproval without explanation. For people who have spent years orienting their identity externally, relational pressure activates the old pattern immediately. A field you keep entering, and every time you enter, you recognize it faster. You settle in sooner. You stay longer. If this video brought you back to yourself, write stable in the comments. Not because something is fixed, but because you returned. And returning is the whole practice.